Hello and welcome to Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. My name is Kelly and I'm a former wedding planner and blogger, and I'm obsessed with weddings. If you're planning a wedding in Ireland, you're in the right place. You're going to learn the tried and tested methods to planning your dream wedding without the added stress. Think of this as your one-stop shop for everything to do with planning your wedding in Ireland. With me, your new wedding planning bestie, and a cup of tea. This is Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online. Well, hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online podcast. My name is Kelly, and today we're going through a very interesting topic because we're talking all about the types of weddings that you could have and how big you should really go. So I'm going to help you decide what type of wedding is best for you. So we're going to look at elopements, registry office weddings, and then of course the big celebration, and how to make the decision about which type of wedding is the right one for you. So it's a big decision, no pressure, but it is one of the first decisions that you're going to make. You might have a bit of an idea in your head, and perhaps today's episode will help confirm for you what the right decision is. Or maybe you're new to weddings, perhaps not even engaged yet, and you don't know what your options are, and you've never really considered this. So I'm hoping that by the end of this episode, you'll know what kind of wedding you could have. We're going to go through the pros and cons of each option, and I'll give you a few questions to ask to really help yourself decide what the right wedding choice is for you. Okay, so these are your three main options. Option one, you've got the elopement. So now, in the past, elopements were considered secret weddings where you would run off and get married and then come back and say, "We're married." These days, an elopement is more like a small, intentionally intimate wedding with kind of 10 to 20 guests. It's often outside, very scenic. It could be destination-based. In fact, Ireland is actually a very popular destination choice for couples abroad who want to have an elopement. The second choice is a registry office wedding. So no frills, civil ceremony at a registry office. It's often very short and simple and cost effective. And then option three is, of course, the big wedding, which is what many people would be more familiar with. It's the traditional large-scale celebration. There's a full guest list, there's a full day experience, and all the suppliers, your venue, your dress, flowers, music, photography, all of that kind of thing. So essentially, those are the three options that we're going to look at today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each option. We're going to go through who may consider this a perfect option for them, and we'll look at the pros and cons, and I'll give you some tips along the way. So why don't we start with the elopement/small wedding. So this is perfect for couples who crave intimacy over tradition. Maybe you want to avoid possible drama and pressure. Maybe you just like the idea of a scenic, unique location. Or perhaps you just prefer spending money on a beautiful experience versus entertaining a big group of people. So these are the pros of having a smaller elopement kind of wedding. Whether you're doing it in Ireland or you're going somewhere else, here are some of the pros. Usually there's less stress because there's less planning involved. Your budget can often go further per guest. So if you're having 10 to 20 people, you could often do a lot more for each person than you would if you were having 120 guests. You can still involve meaningful suppliers. So you can have a photographer, a celebrant. You could even have a planner help pull everything together for you. Now, Ireland is actually amazing for this. As I mentioned before, between the cliffs, the castles, and the coastlines, more and more couples are choosing to have their elopement in Ireland. And so I'm going to add that as one of the pros because it is a really, really beautiful location for a small, intimate wedding celebration. Now, here are some of the cons. You might end up upsetting some family or friends who aren't invited because, of course, if your guest list is limited, you can't have everybody there. You may actually end up missing that big crowd energy if that's something that actually matters to you. So it's worth keeping that in mind. So a top tip is that you can still have a small wedding that feels like a big experience. So you just need to include thoughtful touches. You can have amazing photos. just because it's intimate doesn't mean it's basic. So that's worth keeping in mind. Now let's have a look at the registry office wedding. This is perfect for couples who want to make it official quickly and simply. Maybe you're working with a very tight budget. Maybe you just don't feel like planning anything that you consider to be extra right now. So it could be that you're planning a bigger celebration later, whether that is in your home country or you're going to go abroad. But maybe it's that you want to have the legal ceremony done now, and then at a later stage you want to have a big party somewhere else, and you know that that is coming. So these are the pros. It can be very affordable. It can be fast and straightforward. And there really is no need to plan a big event around this particular type of wedding ceremony. Here are the cons. It can feel a little bit clinical and transactional, but that is dependent on your location. Sometimes there's a limited flexibility in the type of style, the decor, the photography, and kind of what you're allowed to do if it's a registry office wedding. You usually can't involve local wedding suppliers, so you can kind of miss out on the personality and the beauty of a styled wedding day. Now, if a simple registry ceremony is what suits you best, then go for it. But if you love the idea of beautiful photos, a meaningful ceremony, and some kind of a celebration, even if it is just with a handful of guests, then there are a lot of ways you could include a small wedding in Ireland to really feel like it's a special occasion. And of course, support local suppliers, in the process of doing that. So it might be having a registry wedding followed by a lovely lunch or dinner with some close friends and family, for example. Now let's skip over to the big wedding. This is perfect for couples who want the full celebration with all of their people. Maybe you've got family or cultural traditions that you really want to include in some way. Or maybe you want to have that kind of weekend wedding vibe where it's not just the ceremony, but you want to have, a big celebration to go with it. And for anybody who sees this as a once-in-a-lifetime party, the big celebration is a good option for you. So these are the pros. You've got a chance to gather all your loved ones. In fact, it's probably the only time in your life where everybody that you know and love, whether they know each other or not, they're all together. It's a chance to have a full experience with the food, the music, the dancing, and all the magic. You get to support lots of local suppliers, so venue, florist, band, dress shops, planners, all the rest of it. You get to support all of those local businesses, which is awesome. And of course, these are the cons. There's more planning and therefore more logistics. There can be a higher cost, and sometimes it can feel really overwhelming, particularly for those who don't really enjoy organizing stuff. So the big wedding doesn't have to mean 300 people, and it doesn't have to mean stress. It just means that a celebration is, kind of bringing your vision to life. And so it can still be fun, flexible, and completely personal, as well as being a big celebration. So we're going to wrap up by going through some questions that you can ask yourself to identify where you fall in the spectrum of these three wedding types. So ask yourself this. How many people do we really want there on the day? What kind of energy do we want? Calm and quiet, or celebratory and full on? Are we more focused on the experience, the photos, the guests, or all three? What's our budget, and what would we be happy to prioritize? Would we feel sad if we didn't have a big party, or relieved? And finally, are we doing this our way or trying to please someone else? Now, there are no wrong answers to these questions. This is really to help guide you so you can understand where you fall and what kind of wedding celebration you want to have. And of course, no matter what kind of wedding you want to have, the Weddings Online website and podcast and social media is all there to help you plan your perfect day. Doesn't matter how big or small the day is, we would love to help you. So check out weddingsonline.ie for everything you need to know, more top tips and supplier recommendations too. Well, thank you for listening today. The Wedding Wednesdays with Weddings Online podcast is produced by me, Kelly, and mixed, mastered, and edited by Glenn Hartman. For more wedding planning tips, advice, checklists, and more, visit weddingsonline.ie.